Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the World Acceleration League, of course, the WXL. We're here for Lucky 13 here in WXL. We're here for the Japanese Grand Prix. And joining me in the com box, as per usual, as I seem to differ between one person and another, it's if I was of weekends at work, I'm joined by JSRSnakez. How you doing, my friend?
All right, actually. I'm in a different place doing this. It's what I usually am, but it feels exactly the same as it usually does, really.
Yeah, I suppose you get you have a bit more relieved feeling because you don't have to worry about the race. You can instead just sit back and talk about what you see. Now, an 8-man grid, which is 2 more than we had last time, thank goodness for that. But it, of course, doesn't mean the actions will be any less. As we've known previous times in WXL Rumble, with the first man out is Killian. But the man we've really got to focus on, the man we've really got to talk about, is Aard, the man second place in the championship. There has never been a more crucial race weekend than this one for him. Snakes, please explain to us why.
I can't actually remember because this has been a long, I missed last weekend because I think he DNF'd a couple races ago, didn't he? So that might be
right
a swinging point.
Would you like to explain it?
Yeah, you explain.
So
I've been here for a couple races.
I'll let you off. I will let you off. Okay, so basically, the reason that it's so crucial for him is last week he was running in second place at the Malaysian Grand Prix. KJ gave him a lead, and as them two continued to lead away as they usually did. Dasher crashed out at turn 6 following a mistake at that corner. Of course, the S is section turns 5 and 6, if you didn't know, at Malaysia. He then binned it into the wall when he was out of the Grand Prix. KJ went on to win, but KJ is not here this weekend, so it's a chance for him to get all of them points back that he lost out on and ultimately reignite this championship. 42 points is the gap, so it's a chance for it to get down to 17, I want to say. Correct me if my mathematics is wrong. 42 minus 25 is 17. Yeah, it's loads of
sideways.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, again. Brown having another moment in the Renault. His season continues to be like that, really. He doesn't seem to want to change. Good to see Big Will, by the way, in the Red Bull in your seat. Nice to see him come race, as per usual. We're on board with Killian. Let's watch him as he comes towards the first corner. Of course, the long turn 1 and 2. First you get turn 1, which is flat out in qualifying, and you brake towards turn 2. Make sure you get it right. 5th gear just whoops his way round towards the outside. Now the S's curves, they just continues to go left and right and left and right and left and right until eventually you hit Dunlop curve. He's just now coming up to the second part of the S's curves. And now here is Dunlop corner, this long left-hander, which is very tricky in full race conditions, but in qualifying it should be flat, as proven there. Now the two Degners. First to Degner 1, you want to make sure you don't corner cut there, then all of a sudden it just spits you out as you're going around about 170 miles an hour, kicks you up and towards Degner 2, now down towards the hairpin at turn 11. First turn 10, a little king. Watch out for some late lunges in towards here, by the way. It's a very popular overtaking move as he now comes up towards not 130R, but 200R. Fun fact for you there, Snakes. This corner is called 200R, the long swooping right-hander towards Spoon Curve. So now come up towards Spoon Curve, as said, turn 13 and 14. You want to hit 13 and then stay on the outside because then you get a perfect racing line for the second part. Now down where the National Pit Straight is, for, of course, the shorter version. He's now towards 130R. Very famous corner, of course, in Formula 1. A brilliant action-packed corner, to say the least. Even when drivers are just on their own, it's very easy to make mistakes. He's now towards the Casino Triangle, of course, where not Nigel, I always say that, Ayrton Senna and Alain Prost had an instant way back in 1988, but round the final corner for Killian, up to the line, 29.8, so not too bad, as could be said, from the Force India. What about Dasher, though, behind him? We should expect him to go quicker, but let's see what he can do. The American does go fastest, almost a second fastest. Big Will makes one on the final corner as well for Red Bull. In your seat, let's see what he can do. It's not a very good lap, 32.5. Come on, well, we got more than that. Aard, who does make his return here in WXL, he's got to have a chance today, up to the line, and it's
he invalidated his lap. Degners, from what I saw, I was looking at his lap, and he's been taking the widest lines ever since he's been taken around this track.
Yeah, it seems to be that way. Meanwhile, the man third place in the championship has just gone P3, ironically, 30.993 for Artie. Got a podium after that, would you believe it? Revolution, 31.5. And lastly, we've got Bram on their first laps. Morgs has dived it in. But yeah, sorry, Snakes, you were going to say?
Yeah, I haven't really been looking around that much because everyone's generally the same. But one person who's really stood out is probably Aard. I think he's actually gone for another lap. if you look at how much he's pushing by. Oh, Artie's binned it. Yeah.
Oh, he has. Degner too.
He actually went
dear.
off there a minute ago. You remember he was sideways across the track under the bridge. Another fun fact for you. Only figure of eight circuit F1 has ever used.
Okay. We're full of fun facts today, Snakes. We're full of fun facts.
Just pretend we don't have the facade of not being able to think of any before we started. But yeah, Aard's just been a bit, how adept I've known him to be at this game. He's been a bit, I don't know, sort of jittery, I guess, through some of the corners. Like, making loads of little corrections every now and then.
It could be a sign of not liking his start already, but Aard is up to the line, 29.2, so beats Killian there by 6 tenths, but still 4 tenths off of the current pole sitter Dasher. Of course, actually at the moment, ironically, it's actually American 1-2. Killian, by the way, has gone for, I believe, 3rd lap here. He went on for a second one. He didn't improve. He did a 38.4, so he must have made a mistake. But he's now on another flying lap, and them tyres are going to be screwed because, of course, 8 men in the lobby. Snakes. It means he has to start on them tyres, regardless of where he qualifies. So he's going to struggle.
I think what he's going to do is he's going to do 1 lap, and if he's not that good, he's just going to come in at the end of the lap. But if he thinks he can get more time, he's going to finish it. If he comes in at the end of this lap, he'll still have plenty of time to just come in, put a new set of tyres on, do another out lap, and do another flying lap as well. But if he finishes this lap, he might not have that time available to him.
Yeah, if I was him, I'd dive in. But meanwhile, by the way, Bram has just gone P3, only 9 thousandths off of Aard there. Fantastic lap from the Flying Dutchman of WXL. That's P3 for now for him, so I'm sure he's going to be happy with that. But let's go on board with Killian, just now coming on 30R. Morgs as well, by the way. His teammate is just behind him on his first flying lap. We saw what Morgs could do last time out. He actually went fastest, and Killian dives it in. Morgs went fastest, but then due to lag issues, he had to leave before the Grand Prix, which wasn't what I wanted, but don't want to look like a bit of an idiot because Morgs is just about to start his first flying lap, so we'll stick on board with him, see what he can do. Aard as well, I believe, is just now coming into the pits, so probably spread Bram to as well, so sign that Morgs just wants a bit of a sort of quieter track to himself, and he's most certainly going to get that with only himself and one more car out, and that car expected to pit, so he's got some clean air ahead of him, Snakes.
Yeah. I thought he was about to go spearing into the barrier then, but thankfully that was just lag. Hopefully that gets fixed in 2018, but never mind. I haven't really been looking at Morgs that much because he hasn't set a lap yet. So I'm guessing he's invalidated a couple or lost his front wing and had to replace it. Big Will and people are starting to come back out now, I think, for their last lap. Revolutions is and Big Will is as well. I think we'll just cross the exit line as well. Big
Will out on track. We'll stick on board with Morgs because, by the way, he's just about a 10th off of Dasher at the first sector split, so close between them at the moment. He's now around Spoon Curve, so this could be a good lap from the Welshman. Let's see what he can do here. Because, as I did mention, Snakes, I know, of course, you weren't here for last week, but he actually went pole position.
Oh, wow.
It was an interesting session. It was actually a wet qualifying that was torrential rain, but as the qualifying session continued, it appeared to get drier. But those people who went on the Inters didn't actually lap as fast as Morgs did on them wet, so it's a sign of how much pace he must have. But here comes Morgs up to the line, and it's a 28.8 there. Oh, 600ths off of pole position. That is mightily close between them two, but for now, he splits the two Americans and lines himself up in P3, which is a fantastic position, and happily says, yep, that'll do for me with 3 minutes to go. And now he's just got to sit and produce the long wait before the checkered flag for the end of qualifying. And Snake, that sort of hit us out of nowhere, really.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of that was to do with the setup, because that car was so planted, especially through longer corners, especially the S section. Generally though, through the Degners, everyone's sort of either been all out or really sort of careful around it. Especially, I think Artie tried to do the Briar sort of approach to it, and he's just got way too carried away going wide at Degner 2 in 2 consecutive laps. But I think it might be general setup of the car that could swing the pole lap at the moment.
Yeah, it's a wonderful thing about Japan. I mean, I personally, I can't do Japan custom setups because I always seem to get it wrong. I just can't find a setup that will keep my car planted enough for how I like it. But then, you know, some people, they can just perfect a perfect lap. Will's had a few itchy moments here in this first sector, but it doesn't look like they're definitely too bad. But I'll look at sector time, see if he does improve. Of course, you want him to do well because, of course, he's in your seat. In fact, he's actually invalidated his lap time there. He was 3 tenths up. But he has made an invalidation, so whether he's got enough fuel to go for another lap. He does, so he probably will go for one more towards the end of the session. What about Revolution? He just made it around towards the hairpin. Currently P7, 6 tenths off of Enigmarati, who, as I did mention, is third place in the championship and has a good chance today because his championship contender, who he recently overtook last time out, Coxey, is not here today, and there's 9 points separating them, so a big chance for him to improve and increase that margin just that little bit more. Of course, he hasn't had a win to his name this season, nor has Coxey, but both of them really showed why they deserved to be there. Bram actually 22 points behind, so the Renault driver not doing too bad. Good finish today, could very much see himself heading up towards that scrap for P3 towards the end of the season, but not many rounds to go. In actual fact, I think we've got 3. So really not long to go. We'll find out in sector 1. Who's that for, Snakes? Oh, Bram actually took level and he shall appear. He has just binned it at turn 1 and then says, nope, that's enough for me, no more qualifying. He's going to sit in P4.
Wow, we didn't. Nothing validated that because that lap was actually on board, and that Haas looks mighty at the moment. Just turns in so well to all the corners that he went into. No hesitation, no understeer, no oversteer, just slid straight through.
Just looking at the sector times, he must have had some kind of moment out of the second sector, potentially the 2 Degners or something, because he actually, in fact, he was around about 4 tenths off his second sector. In actual fact, it was a valid lap, but it was about pretty much a no improvement. It was about 200ths off of his original lap, but he seemed to manage to find loads of time in both the first and third sectors. But in this second sector, he just couldn't seem to find the time that he had. In actual fact, he's just slowed down massively there. Checker flag is out for qualifying. Yellow flag sector 2, that is actually full Revolution. What has happened in terms of everyone else, Snakes? You had a brief sigh in the background.
If you go on board with Aard through the S section, you'll see what I'm sort of gasping about. Because he is getting understeer and oversteer with that car, but he's sort of trying to go with it. He'll get understeer and just accelerate more. Like trying to push the car through the corner, and whichever way you put it, that's not going to do his tyres a whole amount of good if he's going to use them for the race. No,
it's most certainly not. Big Will, by the way, did improve 31 dead for him, so he now moves Revolution down to the slowest of all the runners. Aard, of course, is now round at the Casino Triangle towards the final corner. He's been sliding like crazy, according to Snakes. What's it going to be for the American? He's up to the line, and it's a 29.2, so it's an improvement, but not on his position, and it's still a fractional improvement. Dash comes off the line, no improvement for him, but what about Killian, the Force India? The last man to complete a flying lap, the man that was deemed not even to race today, but has shown up, and he's up to the line. And it was actually improvement, but it looks to be invalidated, so he will start in P5. And Snakes, that will do it, and we've got America against Wales on the front row of this grid.
No one's ever said that before, but yeah, Morgs has sort of come out of nowhere. I mean, I wasn't here last week, so I don't know how he drives yet, but from what I've seen, beating Aard is quite an achievement, so I'm looking forward to this.
Indeed, so Dasher on pole, Morgs in second, Aard third, Bram in fourth, Killian fifth, Enigmarati sixth, with Big Will seventh and Revolution in eighth. Look at that, by the way. So you've got 2 Brits at the back, 1 Brit in second, and then the rest are not Brits. So it's called the World Acceleration League for a reason, ladies and gentlemen. But here we go for the Grand Prix.
God, I missed that intro.
That makes 2 of us. That always makes 2 of us. There it is. Maybe the new one might be on a new game, but it's crystal clear. There's no sign of rain, but the clouds are out, so maybe it's on that we could have it on the way. Dasher and Aard immediately saying, yep, want to get on with the Grand Prix. Let's get this underway. And quick question for you, Snakes. So we have 17 seconds. Who's going to win?
One of the top 3, I reckon. Because we're sort of 2 different leagues in qualifying, wasn't it? Top 3 in the rest.
It was a little bit. It was, but that could be a sign that they may be hiding their pace a little bit. Here we go. We're getting ready for the Japanese Grand Prix. Round 13. 3, 4, 5 red lights ahead of the guys, and we are away here in Suzuka, and as the fellas start looking like there's TR Dasher. Meanwhile, as well, to get a failure start on the second row. Morgs having to go defensively kind of towards turn 1. In actual fact, Morgs had a brilliant second launch, but round the outside goes Aard on him as they come through turn 1. Kid as well, just in the background, trying to hold that P4 for now. And Aard goes round the outside, and it's an American 1-2. It's a massive crash in the main round. That was Bram in the Renault having a humongous moment out of the first corner. Not at all what he wanted off the line, but other than that, it looks like fairly clean, except for Nigrati. But side by side, actually, Aard has let back through Morgs there as they come towards the Dunlop curb, but then Morgs having a slight bit of oversteer, and now he might be vulnerable, but surely not to the two deck does not just yet. Dasher already a second clear. Aard runs wide, Killian runs wide, RC has got front wing damage, and that Ferrari is not going to be happy with that at all, and Bram with an absolutely woeful start. Snakes, was there anything I missed?
Yeah, again with Aard's setup, you can just see him just buying that car like crazy. That was why he actually lost the position of more. One of the right-handers up the S section, he actually got a massive tank staffer, tried to correct it, went wide, and Morgs just went, thank you very much, I just got the inside.
In deep, he's had a really poor run out of spoon curve as Morgs and up towards 130R. Bit of lag, but Aard's going to go to the outside line and towards 130R, and it's a very easy move for him, and already he has it done before we've even got to 130R, so a brilliant move there. But Morgs is going to want to come straight back at him in towards the Casino Triangle. No, he won't. Killian, by the way, is still sticking in the back of this. He's doing a fantastic job for now, but out of Casino Triangle, Artie just immediately just completely butchered that final corner, but up towards turn 1, and it's Morgs on the inside, Aard on the outside. Who will come out on top? Will we see an American 1-2? Or will we still see the qualifying order? Through they come, and Aard swoops his way around the outside and defends it for now, and still holds that P2, which he has back now after gaining it at the start, losing a little bit. But Morgs just seems to be so much more planted. You mentioned it in qualifying. His setup looks so much more comfortable in comparison to Aard's. But Killian, by the way, out of all of these guys, is doing a stellar job. I've got to mention, Will's into the pits as well due to any kind of damage, or not quite sure. But what about Artie? Because he's got a massive chunk of front wing damage. Did he have contact with Bram? Snakes, did you see anything about that?
No, I was just sort of embracing the battle between Aard and Morgs for a second there, because I don't know what it is, to be honest. I'm pretty sure Morgs can go a lot faster, but I'm pretty sure Aard is just a bit of a spanner in the works at the moment. At the same time, Dasher is going to be rubbing his hands together as long as he doesn't make a mistake, because we're only halfway through the second lap. He's already got 2.5 seconds on him.
Ooh, that was nearly an awful moment for Morgs coming out of spoon curve. He had a massive tank of oversteer. He clipped the inside curb, and his teammate might very much now go on it. We've seen teammates collide before in WXL, but side by side goes that 2-4 in, and they have collided. Unbelievable scenes at 130R. Morgs is out of the Grand Prix. Killian gets to carry on. Unbelievable. And all of a sudden, Nigrati is on the podium in this Grand Prix. Mesmerising, unbelievable since you can't turn your eyes away. RT technology to come in, which means Killian is still has P3, and he's on for his first ever podium in WXL. But the two Force Indias have come together, and that is going to be a very awkward post-race discussion. Snakes.
You would have thought it was bloody Sergio and Esteban driving those cars, but you know, I don't really know who to blame for that, because if I was Killian, I would have just stayed behind him because he's a teammate, obviously. But at the same time, if I had seen him pull up beside me, I would have let him go, personally, because at this point in the race, you're heavy on fuel, obviously, you've still got a bit of adrenaline from the start, and you're going to probably go a bit wide with all that fuel on board. So, I don't really know who to pin the blame on, to be honest.
Indeed, I don't have a clue. I will have to wait to see if there's a stewards' inquiry after the Grand Prix, but that's certainly not what we want to see between teammates. But it's not the first time we've had it, is it, Shamil Heskey and Enigmarati? But in the meanwhile, that means Dasher is now 2.6 seconds clear, and 9 seconds behind him is Killian. Do not forget, Killian had a bit of contact, and he's still ahead of Revolution. So Revolution struggling a little bit, but he's still in P4. Artie's gone into the mediums, by the way, so you probably expect him to... Would you expect him to try and go to the end on them, Snakes?
The mediums? Depends how you treat them, really. If he's going to push, then he'll probably want another set of supers at the end. But if he just treats them nice and sort of coasts around, he can easily get those to the end. It's just a question of how he treats them, not like that.
Did he just sort of have a bit of a
more
moment?
coming out of his food.
Oh, yeah, that's not going to help you, Tyler. Where are you? Come on, Tom, pick it up a little bit. 2 seconds, by the way, is the gap between Bram and Will. They both pitted on lap number 1. They've both gone on soft, so just go soft for them. Snakes, fairly easy strategy.
Well, they'll have to... I'd say the softs and probably need another sort of dash of super softs at the end. But it just depends on how they treat them again and when they're going to switch. We definitely will need a switch to softs. It's just a question of when, really. I think Big Will and Wanton are going to fight for those extra 2 points at the moment.
Yeah, well, I mean, you might as well just fight for pride anyway. Of course, Bram not had a good start to the week. Absolutely, he must have had a bit of contact with Artie there at turn 1 because, you know, given that Artie had damage, you put 2 and 2 together to make 4 sometimes, guys. That's the fact of life. But up towards Degner 1, by the way, just look at how much Bram is catching Will. Will seems to be really struggling at the moment as they come out of Degner 2. He would expect this to be a bit of a mismatch, unfortunately, for Will. Because Bram at the moment, he is a very quick racer, and, you know, judging by what we saw in qualifying, it actually looks like 3 leagues. But round towards 200 they come out of the heaven. Just look at the run that Bram has got on Will. Through they come. Here he goes. Is he going to look to the outside? Yes, he is towards Spoon Curve. They're side by side though. Renault Power against Renault Power. But on the outside he goes. Will's going to try and best. Oh, he's collided into him. And Will has spun it round. And I think that was probably Big Will's own bid in there. I think he broke just a little bit too late and ultimately kissed and really actually smacked the side of that Renault, which now means it's Bram in P6, Will P7. I don't think Will got any front wing damage. He gets away with that. Aard, by the way, has dropped back 3.2 seconds off of Dasher. So we do everything he needs to do. Killian's dropped back a further second. 10.4 seconds is the gap between them. I'm not going to stick on Wolverine for long because he's got that annoying audio glitch. Revolution then a further 7.5 seconds. And to be honest with you, Snakes, we usually get the gap game in the middle of the race. We've had it on lap 5. Who's gone into the gravel?
Brilliant. He went into the gravel at the Deglers. He lost about 5-ish, 6-ish seconds, so it's not too bad, but now he's got the dirt on those tyres. So if I was him, I'd be probably coming in and changing those soon.
The gap to Revolution at 5.
Yeah. Dirt on this game, if you go on the gravel, it never seems to get off your tyres again. As soon as you've got dirt on them. And also,
here we go.
Big Will's taking liberties with my car, isn't he?
Yeah. Well, he thinks he's getting points. Think of the positives here. Always think positive. Bram, by the way, is also now closing up towards Artie's, because Artie's come out on mediums. This course is going to help Coxie ultimately in the long run, because of course he's in a scrap with the P3. But Bram also wants to get past, because he's actually thinking, well, I could have this P3 myself, given the fact he's only 22 points behind in WXL. Who knows what's going to happen? The gap seems to have stabilised ever since Killian's mistake, but that's a sign that Revolution's got a bit of a consistency in comparison to Killian, so we can actually see a little bit of scrap there for P3. Who'd have thought anyone would have said Revolution versus Killian for the podium at the start of this race? Well, you might very much be on for it as early as lap 7, who knows? But the gap between the two leaders, as we did expect these two to do well today. Of course, we saw Aard way back at Australia. We know how quick he was by on pole position against Oliver Smithson of all people, ironically. And actually, as well, Bram is just, by the way, is just now down the inside of Artie towards turn 1. And actually, in fact, he does try and do it. Artie tried to switch back there just before turn 2, and I was thinking, there's no way you're going to do that, especially not at that corner. So he has to just have no choice but to slot in behind and now have the rubbish dirty air through the S's, which is really not what you need at all. But that means Bram now up in a P5. Who'd have thought that? Even though he's done a stop and he's done an extra stop and all that, he's still in the top 5. So not all bad, all things considering for him.
Yeah, I've sort of been looking at the gap between the two leaders. Aard will sort of make gains for 3 or 4 laps, and then he'll just lock up, make a mistake, and lose all that ground he's just made up. So he's sort of in a sort of limbo at the moment. He'll make gains, and he'll just lose them again through his own fault, really.
Yeah, it's sort of. I'm curious that kind of proves what we said earlier about Aard's sort of problems with himself. But in actual fact, there, absolutely, Colin. Oh my goodness me! Are you Kent block in disguise? Crikey, O'Reilly Aard. Massive drift through turn 1. All of a sudden, thinking he's at bloody hell in Norway on the World Rallycross Championships. no, lad, you're in Formula 1 in WXL. You can't get away with things like that. He runs wide as well at Dunlop curve almost. But the gap's now at 4.3 seconds, so that's just a sign of why Dasher is in the position that he's in, really, why he's in for the championship contender. Again, he loses it there at Degner 1. So, I mean, but I suppose this does also go to show why Dasher is in the position that he's in, because, you know, he deserves to be where he is. Now, I would like to quickly mention at the moment, we do not have a Mercedes driver racing today. Of course, I'm on that constructors battle now here. And I've always been talking about Mercedes against Williams all season long. And the gap has now come down to 22 points. But after this round, it'll actually see Williams in the lead. KJ and AMG Kosher not racing today. And Dasher going on for 25 points. So Williams actually have a chance to jump them in the constructors. And I didn't actually feel it was going to happen. Revolution's out! Revolution has binned it at the hairpin. How on earth have you done that? He must have got a kick of oversteer and just walloped the wall. And that means we're down to 6. Yeah, he absolutely Carlos Sainz did. Aard's in.
Artie just did another one of those 10 block style drifts through the hairpin.
I think it's just a Ferrari thing.
Yeah. It's either the Ferraris, even though this is equal cars with benchmarks, is still terrible on grip, or they just like pushing their cars a lot.
I think it's a bit of both. Killian Aard's just coming by the way.
Even though he's a minute behind, he's still going to get, Big Will's still going to get, again? 8 points.
8 points, yeah. 8 points at the moment, so that's not all things bad considering. By the way, Aard, he came in and gone on to set a soft, so 2 stop? Because I don't think you can tag them to the end, no way.
Again, if he's done those extra 4 or 5-ish laps on them, if he's extremely careful, he can get those to the end. I mean, by careful, I mean like not treating his car like he is now, sort of careful. Because like this, like this, he's not going to get it. He's going to have to put another set of super softs on.
Yeah, I think a 2-stop might be in order for him. The question is, what will Dasher do to respond? He's now towards 130. Will he come into the pits? Now, it'd be interesting to see what happens because, of course, those guys have got to remember that they've got a massive amount of cleaner. The guy that's behind them, ultimately, is Killian, right? And he's 22 seconds behind them. Dasher does actually take the opportunity to come in. Don't get a time penalty. Or do. Oh, dearie me, Dasher. That's not at all what you needed. That's dashing you away to a required step and stop go penalties in, though. And it is actually soft compound tyres for him as well. So both of them must be trying to go for a 2-stop and just thinking about absolute raw pace. Now, I'm pretty sure Dasher will come out clear of Aard, because it looks a bit fair, decent in lap. Killian as well also comes in. Well, what tyres will he go on? Because if he goes on mediums, then we could have a race on our hands here. But Aard comes out, and there is Dasher miles ahead, actually. It looks as if the overcome worked. Killian also softs. So, I don't quite know, really. I don't think they can take us extremely not.
If I were Killian, I would have given up trying to catch up to them now. Come in, put a set of mediums on, and then sort of try to keep a steady gap through them. And then once they've pitted again, just sort of try my best to keep them behind. I think that was the clearest way Killian could have sort of tried to make up another 1 or 2 positions, maybe, and get first or second place. But like that, he's going to stay where he is probably.
Yeah, it's limiting his option, but then again, I suppose he hasn't had a podium all season. You know, I suppose he's probably just thinking about the long game, really, and just thinking, yeah, 3 points, 15 points, that'd be absolutely lovely for me. Currently 9th in the championship, 38 points. Gets more than 4 points today. Actually, Brown sees the backs in there. Aard, he gets a 3-second time penalty. If he actually gets 4 or more points today, Snakes, he's actually jumped you in the championship. So, a bit of a sad face moment for you, but he'll actually be level on points with Welty for P7 as well. So. Killian really deserves a lot more credit than he gets, really, because he's one of those guys he'll do his best to try and shot every single week, and he always does his best to try and give it his all, but sometimes he just doesn't get luck. But this week, he most certainly has, with a parting of the Red Seas and a cheeky bit of Esteban Ocon and Sergio Perez at 130R.
Well, in terms of taking me in the championship, I haven't been here for about 7 races, so I'm not going to lose any sleep. But yeah, actually, now I'm thinking about it, this is the first time he's really been in a high running position from what I can remember.
He deserves a lot of credit though, but what happened?
Aard through the S's again, don't mind me.
I had another moment again, and that lad is not going to help his tyres at all. What about Dasher? Because of course he's on the softs, but he's been rather smooth on his driving, so could he try and go to the end?
Again, it depends. If Dasher's a lot more likely to get his tyres to the end than Aard is, because the different styles of driving here are obvious. I'm not sure if that's just because one's on pad and one's on wheel. Aard certainly seems to be on the pad, judging by how his wheels moving, but it seems so much more smoother than Aard. So unless Aard wants to have another shot of super softs at the end and probably have to have a fight with Killian for it, I don't know, I don't really think Aard, driving how he is at the moment, has got all that much chance of winning this race.
They seem to be nice and calm. He'll flag out in sector 1, and oh, it's Big Will again at Dunlop Curve.
Oh,
he must have understeered and then probably just walloped the wall.
Is he just going to do
Still in the Grand Prix though?
Dunlop Curve?
I wouldn't blame him. I suppose that'd be a real screw you really, doing donuts with Pirelli tyres on at Dunlop Curve. That'd really be an FU towards Dunlop. But round in other news, he's now dropped 40 seconds behind Ivy. It's good to see him stick it out. It's what I always love. I always used to love that about Will. Whenever he used to commentate on him and all that, he always stuck it out, and he always made sure that he just kept on going. He never, unless he actually binned it and had free wheels on his wagon, he always continued. So I always give him massive props for that. And he's still on for 8 whole points towards Red Bull. Snakez, given the fact that
no way.
I know, given the fact that how far, how long races you've been away and stuff, 8 points must feel like an absolute godsend.
Yeah, because I remember, in terms of not giving up, I think it was Singapore, me and Will were commentating on about, what, I think 3 drivers at one point, and we were just sat there. I don't even think I looked at my screen for about 20 laps. Nothing happened.
God.
Because everyone was watching the World Cup, obviously. Either that, or they just hated
World
Singapore
Cup
and didn't race. To be honest with you though.
I mean, Will's in other news, Will's in. He's into the pits now with his front wing change. What's he going to go on? Mediums. Lovely.
Oh, my screen says super soft. What's that about?
Oh no, it's just changed. Lovely. I love that glitch. Fantastic. 10 out of 10.
Oh, this game is left in a state, isn't it?
Should we do a little bit of a plug? Let's do a little bit of a plug. I'd like to thank F1XL, as per usual. They are hosting us straight after their podcast, F1XL Extra, which of course I do bring the F2 rundown for. So thanks so much for that. Shame that the lad that is actually involved in F1XL in this league is not doing very well. That man is actually Big Will, ironically. He's commentator for Formula 1. So it's not a good weekend for him, and not really what they want. And of course, iCoxie not here today, so there's their 2 F1XL drivers. And of course, ESR trolled, but he's not here today either. So not really the day they wanted, and you know, I'm sure that's the reason probably why the view account's gone down a little bit, because they wanted to show their support for their guys, but they couldn't. So anyway, we're on about just under 15 laps to go in this Grand Prix, and well, it's a bit psychological at the moment, Snakez.
Yeah, I mean, as long as actually Aard is actually starting to catch Dasher now, I'm not sure if that's just because he's pushing a lot more than Dasher is, or if Dasher's struggling, or what. I don't think Dasher will be worrying about it too much though, because if Aard's been driving like he has been for the past 6 laps since he put those tyres on, his tyres will be about twice as worn as Dasher's by this point, because he's just been sliding everywhere, particularly through the S section. I'll tell you what, next time Aard comes up to the S section, hopefully he'll slide, otherwise I'm just going to look like an idiot. But look at how much he slides. The past 10 laps I've looked at him through the S section, and he's been sliding like, I don't even know what slides. What do you mean metaphor? Never mind.
A slip and slide.
Yeah, that one. Jesus.
I would have come up with like a very like sort of wrong innuendo, but I don't think it was right for the situation.
Yeah. And remember, PG.
Deft up grease guy from Family Guy. There we go. You remember him, the eye pitch guy running around with his arms flailing? Yeah, him.
I think so.
You're never gonna catch me. That
Well,
geezer.
actually, let's be honest.
If you don't know who it is, Google it.
To quite a spread out field at the moment. Everyone's about. I mean, the top two are miles away from anybody else. 20 seconds away from Killian. I think the closest to at the moment is the Austrian and the Dutch. Work that out amongst themselves.
Well, I know who it is, and I'm on board with one of them now. I was on board with currently one of the two Americans on the grid. But yeah, Austria against the Netherlands, or Dutch, or whatever you want to call them. 3.5, it's been around about stabilising that gap, which is surprising me, but I suppose Bram is on a lot older soft combat tyres compared to Killian, because the pace difference between them is actually a little bit. It's not too much, but it is a little bit. But it's kind of petered out because obviously we've got the situation with Killian on fresh softs, and well, Bram, I believe he came in around about a lap. Yeah, he came in right on lap 1, didn't he? He was one of the two lads to pit on the first lap, so he's been on them for quite a while. I'm probably due his second stop soon. Now, Snakes, I have to do this to you, but thank goodness there's not a lot of action, because I have to change my batteries on my controller because they're about to die.
Okay. I'll try and the 10-ish seconds that you're on. At the moment, there's nothing really to commentate on because everyone's so far spread out. I don't really know why Big Will came on another set of super softs. Maybe he's just trying to go for the fastest lap. But actually, that's quite a good idea, because then he could just come in again on another set of super softs and just keep going fast lap. Obviously, it'd be better to do that towards the end because of like fuel load. But Aard's actually falling back away from Dasher, and he's just come out in the S section, so unless he's made another mistake in the S section, which he's been doing for the past God knows how many laps.
I am back.
Arctic going steady as well, even though he's been doing a drift through spoon every time I've started onto the spectating camera.
Let's go on board with him. Let's watch him. He's now around 200R, so he's about to come up towards spoon curve. So let's see this. Roll out the music. Roll out Tokyo Drift. Let's see what the Fast and Furious can do as through he comes. And, well, not a bad attempt, actually. Didn't use the handbrake by the looks of things, so...
To be fair, he did go through there in gear 4, so that's probably why he didn't drift.
Oh yeah, if he's taking down that low, bloody hell. I mean, his engine's probably on fire by the sound of it. Jeez, it's not that low of a gear. Usually like 5th. But anyway, in other news, let's talk about the championship, as we've got not really a lot to talk about in terms of stipulations as it stands. So Bram, if he does finish where he currently is, he'll move 10 points behind Coxey. Artie will move to 68 points, behind our championship leader. This is all as it stands at the moment. Will, by the way, will only move up to joint 14th in the championship, where he's on for at the moment. He's on 0 points to move up to 8. The other man on 8 points is the Sauber driver Jack RT. So, ultimately, don't really mean a lot. What else can we talk about?
I don't know. There's nothing going on.
Let's do some comparison of lap times. Aard, right. 32.9.
Did you just call him hard?
Aard. And Dasher, 32.2.
Okay.
So 7 tenths in that lap alone between those two. That's remarkable. Now, what about behind him? The gap, the lap time's coming in between. That's obviously a 32.4's just come in, by the way, from him now, so it has been a bit of improvement. 32.4 and a 33.5 from Killian.
Ooh,
so it's a bit of a kind of mishmash of leagues here. Bram, by the way, is that gap's almost under 3 seconds. So could much see a battle here. Let's see if we get lucky. There you go. No, we're not, because Bram's in the pits. Now,
good.
One thing I would like to mention is if Dasher and Aard go to the end, Dasher's got a 5-second stop go. And that'll times 2 to 10.
That is true, actually. I forgot about that. Actually, the track what I said earlier, Aard could still win this race. If he doesn't drift through every corner.
He could do very much so.
Did Killian just have a half spin? Because through Dunlop curve, he's going very low in about gear 3 then for a second, and he's just dropped 2 seconds. I guess he's just a half spin.
Yeah, small moment for him. That brings the gap down now. Yeah, it must be, because the gap's come down from Aard. The gap's actually massively coming down from Aard. 13.7 seconds is now the gap. So Killian may be struggling on them set us off. So Bram has been in for his second stop. 8 seconds, almost just under 9 is the second between him and Aard. So now it becomes a cat and mouse game between those two. Bram will pretty much go to the end on them. No real issues regarding that. That's a fairly easy strategy to do. Will, of course, on the super softs. I think he's still got another stop to go, driven by how early he did pit for them super softs. But he's a good 1 minute 25 and getting close to being lapped by Dasher at the moment. Let's have a look. So Will is just actually... Oh, he has been lapped. Sorry, my apologies. I'm looking at the gap to the interval, aren't I? He's getting closer to being lapped by Bram, but he's still got a little way to go for that yet, so not quite just there. But 6.4 seconds out of the gap, so surely the thing that's on Dash's mind is, right, just try and get 10 seconds clear of Aard, and then I've done it, regardless. That's got to be his mindset.
Yeah. In other news, found out why Revolution's crashed.
Wow.
Similar explanation, really. It was his first race without assists, which is understandable.
Yeah.
So he's probably had medium traction control on the floor, forgot, and just stamped the pedal out with her. That's probably what happened there.
Yeah, it can happen. Don't get me wrong. So, you know, it's part and parcel of racing, I suppose. You know, learn a new assist. It's a new adventure, and it sort of gives a different perspective to the game. So, but I've got to say, fair play for turning them off. But just a shame that, you know, he was on for a high finish, actually on for 4th place, but it just didn't quite work out for him. So, if you have missed the first part of the Grand Prix and most of the part of the Grand Prix, let me just say you pretty much missed all the action. We started out with a good start. Aard and Morgs going side by side and towards turn 1. Brilliant outside move from Aard, but Aard immediately lost it back in the S's. Coming down onto the second lap, Morgs had a little bit of a moment out of Spoon Curve, and ultimately Killian, in 4th position of all people, caught up towards him and was on for a podium. They went side by side, the two Force Indias, in towards 130R, and they had a monumental collision, which led to Morgs retiring. Killian able to carry on with not even any front wing damage, and he now holds P3. And that is pretty much been the entire story of the race, except Revolution crashing and Will having a moment, a few laps to go. That pretty much brings you up to date. Snakes, have I missed anything?
Apart from Aard driving like a nutcase, not really.
Good point. Good point.
I can't go how he's driving. I really can't. I would not be driving like this possibly. I'd be too scared to.
Well, I suppose that's why he's so quick. Bram, by the way, just went fastest ever. I think it was 31.8 for the Renault. He nearly loses at turn 1, so not really a good end to that. But by the way, I would like to mention, of course, if Bram cannot pass Aard on his final few laps, he has a 3-second time penalty anyway, so he will still jump in with respect to that. Now let's have a brief look, see if I've missed any penalties down the line. Of course, Dash had been given a stop-go. Aard, no penalties, but he's on a 2nd warning. Killian, 1 warning to his name. Artie, actually, by the way, sorry, is on 2 penalties. So even now, Bram is within it. He's on 1 warning, and Will does not have a penalty to his name. Now that brings you up to date, so just shows...
diving in the pits.
Oh, it is. Now we've got a bit of a cat and mouse game on our hands, because the question is, what will Dasher do? Will he respond and come in himself and do a 2-stop? Killian should not be an influence with regards to Aard. By the way, Killian's actually got a pit light on his dashboard, so he very much actually could be coming in himself. But Aard is now on his way out.
If Killian gets in front of Aard and Aard gets stuck behind him, that's it. Sure.
Oh, Killian out miles behind. In actual fact, he actually loses there at turn 1 and goes off into the runoff. So not sort of really what the Force Indian needed. Let's see. I believe we're okay on part issues. I believe we just had a brief bit of lag from you then, Snakes, but I believe we're okay. All continuing on. But let's see what Dasher does to respond. Will he come into the pits?
I think in terms of the penalty thing as well, 2 races ago, I think I was actually commentating on ILR F3 in F1 Star, and in top 3, the hybrid third didn't have a time penalty, but the ones in 1st and 2nd did, and they were back to 1st and 2nd. So what
Dashes in.
Person P3 did, actually really clever. Just let them back on in front, just coasted behind them because they were battling. He could afford to go a lot slower. Goes behind them, ended up in P1 by the end of the race with their time penalties.
Playing it strategic. By the way, that 5-second stop go no longer matters because Dasher has just served it. Now the question is, where would he come out with regards to Aard? Because of course he's had 5 seconds added onto his stop anyway. He's out of the pits. He's now running down towards the pit exit line. Aard is now coming up towards that very line. Let's see if we can see him. There is Dasher in the distance on the right-hand side of your screen. And he is just about ahead. But on that previous lap anyway, Aard picked himself up a 3-second time penalty. So it might not even matter ultimately. Killian is still out on them soft compound tyres. So we could see him try and go to the end. Gap to him, by the way, to Artie is 12 seconds. So if Killian were to come in actual fact, would probably lose that P3, not to Artie, but to Bram. So, and that would be devastating for the Force India because he's worked so hard to get it and just kept it nice and clean. But the gap between Dasher and Aard is now just over a second. And we could very much see a battle on our hands because now it's all about raw pace.
I don't know if it's going to be down to pace because if you actually look at the fuel loads by the class have, Dasher has a lot more fuel than Aard does at the moment. And I'm expecting the car a bit bigger because Aard's actually running lean at the moment to save a little bit.
Yeah, Aard's sort of sticking right at the limit as if to say, right, I want to use exactly the amount of fuel that I can. Bram is now half a second behind Artie, so let's stick him up with this battle. Because for all we know, this in actual fact could be for P3. But it maybe not, because I think Killian's going to try and make them tyres go to the end, which is risky, but why not? Why not be risky? Is my mic for some reason having a little bit of sort of issues there, but I believe it's just about cleared up. But out spoon curve they come. You can see Artie struggling on them tyres in comparison to Bram. Aard goes faster there, 31.6, but the gap has already come out over 7/10 between Aard and Dasher. So Dash was already just saying, nope, I want no part of this battle. I will happily just skate away in the distance as I have done all race. In actual fact, I believe if he manages to set the fastest lap, it will be on for the Grand Slam of fastest lap, led every lap and won the Grand Prix and pole position. So could very much see that. Up towards turn 1, by the way, comes Enigmarati and Bram. Bram closing up. He goes to the inside. He goes defensive, round the outside. Tries to go. Bram can't quite do it for now. It just sticks an 8th gear there for the first part. So just really sort of try and get the braking, but out of the towards the S curves they come. And I think actually we might see an on-track overtake as round the outside goes Bram through S's. And what a move! What a opportunistic manoeuvre around the outside. That is incredible from the Renault. And he is now up into P4, Artie down to P5. But that wasn't really for anything, but that sort of sprung out of nowhere. A bit of action in what has been a really flat Grand Prix.
To be fair, he thought that through very well because most of these races at that point would have just tried to get through any way possible. I mean, he came out as soon as he realised there was no way to turn 1. Since RT has no grip on the tyres, he's going to be all over the place anyway. So he's taken that into sort of context. Stay behind him, wait for him to make a mistake. And as soon as he did, he went straight up the inside.
Indeed. Fast laps come in, so Grand Slam could very much on for TR Dasher. He just went faster at 30.8. So it's very much on to have that opportunity. I even think he has every single lap because Killian came in on the same lap as him, if not actually after, but in actual fact he was behind him. So I believe Dasher has led every single lap of this Grand Prix. That's his third of the Grand Prix, but when you're 1 minute 23 seconds ahead of Big Will, you're pretty much in the clear behind you. So I've got to bring that car home in one piece.
If you get 90 seconds of time penalties, you need to sort of reevaluate your driving, to be honest.
Exactly that. So you're not wrong. But Killian, by the way, 11.8 seconds clear with Bram, but he's going to really start to struggle on them softs. Bram is not going to have no issues with tyre wear because he's made them go 10 laps and that's relatively easy to do. Killian has now been on them. Let's have a little look because I believe it is actually since lap number 9 all the way up to now. So it's a long old time on them, but he's trying to make it work at least. Gap between Dasher and Aard 3 seconds now, but of course I don't even matter on him because A, Aard has a 3 second time penalty, and B, there's no longer a 5 second stop go to be added on for Dasher because he has served it because they went on to a 2 stop. So that means, by the way, that in this Grand Prix, Artie and Killian, the only 2 1 stoppers of this Grand Prix. And was that really what you expected into this Grand Prix?
Well, I was expecting people like Aard and Dash to go aggressive, obviously, because they're obviously going to be pushing to get away and catch one another. Killian and Brad don't really have any lead push, so it was kind of expected them to just do a one-stop and just see if anything could be made out of it. Big Will is going for a 3-stop strategy as he's coming to pits again.
Indeed. So the Red Bull driver comes in, soft tyres for him. I suppose when you are, in actual fact, he has now just been lapped by Artie, who's in 5th. You might as well just go to the end and say, yeah, that'll do me. 5 laps to go, by the way, of this Japanese Grand Prix. So as we've been chatting along, it has actually managed to bide the time a little bit, and what has been, let's face it, unfortunately, I have to admit it, and you can't help it. There's always going to be one of them. It has been a rather flat Japanese Grand Prix, but at the same time, the 2 at the front, they deserve to be where they are.
Especially with Aard slalom drifting in sector 1, that's been quite interesting to watch.
He's like one of the, he's like a dog show, like a bloody dog show, fucking snaking in and out the little bollards that they have, and then going under.
PG.
I'm sorry, but I can't help it. Sometimes it slips out. Being like going under like the little tunnels and stuff like that. He's basically done one of them today, where he's just sort of been a little bit of a show pony out there. But in actual fact, you got to say fair play to him. Now lap 24 of 27. So in actual fact, now it's 5 laps to go. Sorry, I got my lap counter wrong because I want this Grand Prix to fly by, but unfortunately, it can't. 51 minutes we've been live. Can you believe it? 51 minutes. You've basically listened to a glorified podcast.
I couldn't believe it if you said 120 minutes. Never mind.
It's just because only 8 people turn up, unfortunately. Yes, well, you would be very much right, but I mean, we managed to make commentary work with 6 people last week, so you know, it's not unusual.
I mean, me and Will got it to work with 4, so that was
I remember that.
Your mic broke.
Yeah, so should we explain the story about that? So, Singapore, we're just about to go live for WXL. If you did notice, by the way, if you did actually tune into, what was it, round 11, I think? Somewhere?
10, I think I was.
10, right. If you tune into round number 10, yeah, of the WXL, World Acceleration of course, and the stream that you're actually watching at the moment, ironically. I started my live stream and I started to commentate as I usually do. And then I went to go, I think I went to go like change my batteries as I just did earlier in the stream, so that's why I took extra care this time. And I went over and I went to go, and all of a sudden I started my mic on my head, and I must have got my mic caught on like my desk or something, and it yanked. And as a result, it both bent the lead, so like the cable slightly bent, and actual fact as well, I also completely ruined the input, and that completely and utterly just completely gone. So I had to buy one of them little headset adapters, you know, the ones that you can pick up with like the control pads. Yeah. You get them on like the actual, you get like the actual Xbox One headset, like the official ones. So I just bought one of them. It's not even like a proper, it's not even like a proper Xbox one. It's like Turtle Beach branded for £8, and I put it in and it works. It's perfectly fine. But that was why on the Singapore stream, when we went live, there was just no audio. That was just not. That was just me paused because I was trying to fix my microphone, and then once we did. It was all dandy and we were all good, but it was getting it to work, but we didn't manage to get it work, did we? And ultimately I had to take a back seat. You and Will in the end up doing an emergency stream, which is why everyone watching F1 XL was really confused as to why it suddenly just went off and there was nothing else that came back on. And then I missed the week after because of the World Cup. Now I was not going to miss England against, who did we play? Was it Belgium?
I think we played Croatia and that was when we lost. Oh well.
Oh yeah, it was. Oh yeah, I remember that. But anyway, just about to start the penultimate lap, the leaders, by the way. Back to earth, back to reality, back to what we have here. And in other news, let's talk about what Cody seems to want to talk about, the clouds. They appear to have overcast as this Grand Prix has gone on. And it would have been nice to see a bit of rain, a bit of drama, but you never know.
Yeah, as we all know, Japan in the wet is similar to, I can't remember what other track it is. I think it's Russia, where driving in the rain isn't like rain, it's like ice, okay? It's got no grip at all unless you're following the race line exactly.
Yeah,
and I was going to say, with your mic, I was going to say, oh, it's just one of those things. It's not. It's just you being a bit of an idiot.
Yeah. Yeah, but I mean, it happens, and you know, we moved on. I've got a replacement, and I'm back in action. So no real issues at all.
I'm an idiot.
Oh,
so,
what is it?
Because I'm an idiot. I'm working a little headset that you can remove both ends. Keep that in mind.
It's not bad. Yeah, because then you can accidentally remove like one end. Which one have I removed? And suddenly scrambling around everywhere. Will, by the way, is not going to be lapped by everyone. Because Artie has come in and he's unlapped himself from Artie. So thank goodness for that, and he's still on for P6 as it stands. Indeed, a nice round of applause comes from Snakes, and I would say so, fair play. Now, just quickly looking at the chat, because of course we do have it as Dash is just about to start the final lap and getting ready to do one final lap of this Japanese Grand Prix. He's put, on my crash, whose fault was it? I couldn't tell from my POV. Now, I don't know about you, Snakes, but I couldn't tell either, because it looked 50-50.
That was a bit of, I think, like the incident Checo and Esteban at Spa. No one really knew whose fault it was, to be honest.
It's just something that happened. It was just team.
Yeah. Ooh. I mean,
we have actually got a last lap scrap. Sorry to interrupt, but Bram against Killian, final podium place. Because Bram has been closing that gap because Killian is pretty much crawling on them set of softs, and up towards turn one they come, and you would expect this to be ultimately a serious game of cat and mouse and some really nail-biting stuff as around the S's. Here they come towards the S. Now let's see if Bram can pretty much do what he did to Artie, just try and launch as well and exit, and he is going to try that as well, and he nearly managed to pull it off, but Killian was wise to it. And as they come up towards Dunlop Curve for one final time, and we've got a scrap on for the final podium place. Bram with a chance for a second podium of the season. Killian on for his first. They come towards Degner. He can't quite get it done for now because it's not an overtaking opportunity. If he wants not to take an opportunity, he's getting an exit out of here and down towards the hairpin. And I think that very much might be on the cards for Bram. Up towards the hairpin, he goes to the inside line. He still can't quite do it for now, and will try and swoop his way around the outside to get a better exit up towards 200R. But meanwhile, we've got to keep our eye on the fact that Dasher is round the final corner as well to see him grab the victory. Indeed, he is round the final corner and up to the line, and Dasher takes a dominant victory here in Japan across from the Pacific Ocean. He does exactly what he needs to do. Aard comes home in second, but this is the battle we've got to keep our eye on. Here they come through to 130R. Killian goes defensive. Here they go for one final time when they come together. About to surely not go side by side towards 130R. No, they're not. Come on, look at this. Absolute wheel to wheel as they come towards the Casino Triangle. Bram goes to the outside as Killian trying to cut him off as best he can. And Killian might have just about held it. He's done enough, surely. Out he comes of the Casino Triangle. And Killian takes his first podium of the season by a 10th. Unbelievable action here at the end of the Japanese Grand Prix. Jesus Christ, what a bit of action.
Yeah, it was good. Those are like the key words you want after a boring Grand Prix. We might have a little bit of a last scrap there.
Yeah, that was a massive relief.
That couldn't have got much closer to it, to be honest.
No, that was wheel to wheel. That was, oh my goodness. But it's finished, thank goodness, and it has finished. Killian ultimately pulling off the one stop from super soft to soft. So you've got to say, fair play to him for doing that. But Bram very nearly spoiled the Austrians' party. And he pushed me off and out. I would have to agree with that. It was rather late stuff, really. We'll have to see what comes of it. But of course, we will get the three guys in for their podium interviews. And Shamil, for some reason, would like to join in for the interviews. So let's bring him in. But meanwhile, looking at the podium, what a surprise. Dasher wins. He's done everything he needs to do today, which now means the gap is indeed down to 17 points. Exactly the same amount of gap that it was last time out just before Malaysia. And wow, we've got a championship scrap on our hands between those two. It's Aard who takes a very momentous P2. I'm sure he's happy with that in his return to WXL. And in the end, it is Killian who ultimately grabs P3 for his first podium of the season and actually now jumps you in the championship.
Yeah.
Had to throw that one in there, didn't I? Right, let's get these guys in for their interviews. It was just tempting, unfortunately, my friend. It was just tempting. I need to quickly invite Shamil, actually. I don't know if I've got him. I hate to sound mean, but I don't think I've got him on my friends list.
Arno and Shamil will take them about 4 hours to join the party, so it's all good.
Yeah, we've got. Yeah, sit back, guys. Oh, I have got my friends. How about that? Right. So we'll start this in reverse order as we usually do. And of course, we do have our very own co-owner of the league in for these interviews. So let's see if he actually does connect first before we. There he is. He's in. Lovely jubbly. So we'll start in reverse order, and we'll start with the Force India of Killian, who takes his first podium of the season. Now, correct me if I'm wrong with them stats and look like a tit, because I think it might very much be that way. First of all, my friend, congratulations. A little bit nervy for you on the final lap because you were on such worn tyres and you had to defend for your life.
It was panicky, to say the least, but it was coming up to 130 out, and I was like, if I can keep it here, I'm fine. If I can just defend this line, I'll be okay. And then it just came around the line, final corner, everything was fine. But for that last lap, my heart was on. It wouldn't stop, just pounding off my chest. It was really, really spooky.
Yeah, it's okay. I've rung the ambulance. You'll be on your way to A&E just after these interviews, so don't worry. Your heart's gonna be fine.
Yeah.
Now, the second question for you. You sort of had a bit of a. It was an interesting qualifier because you were P5. Now, take us through your start because obviously we focused on the battle of the front, which we had between Aard and your teammate. And you started 5th, and you seemed to just be nice consistent. All of a sudden, you just popped out of the back of this train thinking, oh my god, I'm in 4th. And you just stayed there until eventually your teammate had a mistake and you came together. What happened?
For Japan's not one of my strongest tracks to race around, so qualifying was a bit off. I couldn't get the right setup sorted and everything. And then, so I like being the first one out, because then you've got loads of like track space. And then the start happened. I was really, really confused. I was trying to figure out how I'd got into like such a position that early, because the lights went out a lot quicker than they usually do. So it was a bit odd.
Yeah, I mean, it was a bizarre one to say the least from us. But also, I've got to say, fair play for your strategy. Doing the one stop from super softs to softs was it. I thought if you conserved and you might just about make it work. And of course, you conserved probably right up until that last lap when you saw that Renault right on your back. But of course, you did well, fantastically to get that. Now, final question for you comes to you about the championship. Now, of course, for you, it's been a pretty sort of picking up points here and there, just ultimately just plodding along. You've jumped snakes, as I regret to tell him in the stream. So you're now up in the P8 in the championship, joint P7 with Welty. Only 4 points off of Emerald, and that's P6. And then it's a gap up to Bram. Now, I'd surely reckon that more than 4 points have got to be enough for you, given the fact we haven't seen Emerald recently. 6th place in the championship, does that satisfy you?
From this season, yes. Judging by how it's gone, I'm quite happy with 6, because there's a lot of fast people in this league, like Dasher and Aard. As we've seen this race, they just disappeared. And then I'm quite happy with it. I'm basically just happy with 6, to be honest.
Yeah, I'm sure that would make you happy. But of course, congratulations yet again on the podium today. Maybe potentially see you with more things to come in the future, but we'll swiftly move along towards the second place man, the man who made his return today in the Ferrari, the American of Aard, who brought up the second of the two in the 1-2. First of all, Aard, congratulations on your return. Pretty, other than what happened near the start, a pretty quiet race for you overall. Yeah, it was an interesting one that he picked up a time penalty for stop go, and then he served it because he did the 2-stop, and I managed to make sure that he'd done that and stuff. And then obviously you picked up a time penalty in yourself, and we thought that we were going to move for an interesting race because of the working out the mathematics, but ultimately it didn't really matter too much for you. But of course, it's been a little while since you've been in the WXL. Of course, nice to see you back, which is lovely to see. Now, is this going to be a regularity for you? Are you going to be sticking out for these final few races and trying to sort of maybe even get into the top 10 of the championship, which you already actually are joint with? He can be the spanner in the works in the championship. How about that? That'd be lovely. Now, final question for you comes to you actually about Mr. Dasher. Now, the championship, I will ask you about this in terms of with regards 17 points between KJ and Dasher. That's your two in the championship. Who have you got and why? No, KJ is British.
Okay, then I have to go.
I rate that American support. I thoroughly do. Now, my friend, congratulations on the podium. Hopefully, see you next week when maybe you could potentially back it up into 2-2, and that'd be a lovely little record, even possibly a win. Who knows? But we'll move along to our race winner, of course, and the man who had such a crucial weekend after such a dire weekend last week for Malaysia. Not at all what he wanted, but he managed to claw it back, and it's back within his grasp. Dasher. It was a pretty quiet race for you, but you got a Grand Slam, so it's not all bad.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, expected to win. I didn't think he wasn't aware that Aard was coming in, and he's obviously a very solid driver in the pace, and he nearly got me in qualifying, even though my lap wasn't really representative. I didn't feel, but it was close anyway. So. Yeah, I mean, I got a pretty bad start because, like Killian said, the lights went out quite a bit sooner than they usually would. So I was worried that he might have gotten me into turn one, but luckily he didn't. Um, and then from there, it was just about, well, conserving. I think I made a few mistakes, and then I picked up that 5-second stop go, and I think I went about half a mile over the speed limit going in, which is nice. But I knew I had the pace to bring it out to 5 seconds, as I was about 2/10 to 3/10 a lap faster, and I pushed up the ante after that pit stop. I was able to get it over 5 seconds. And then when I served it and he had the one lap undercut, I was looking at his dot on the mini map heading down the main straight as I was coming out. It's like, oh, that's going to be close. Luckily, I was able to get out in front of him, and then I built the gap up to about, about 4.7 seconds in the end. Yeah, I mean, it was, I wouldn't say boring because he kept the pressure on the entire time. I wasn't just like driving around not really knowing what to do. But yeah, it's nice to have a quiet race where I don't really have to worry about anything every once in a while.
Yeah, I mean, that was pretty much a nice, simple summary for you. So in actual fact, my next two questions for you aren't actually about the Grand Prix, they're actually about sort of things around it. Now, second question for you does actually come to you about the constructors, not the actual championship, because as I did say, you're down to 17 points and it's within your grasp. But in the constructors, you've actually now jumped Mercedes. You're now top of the championship by 3 points, and I've always said, you always know, every single week I always have to mention Williams against Mercedes in the constructors championship. Now, do you think you could keep that? Because to be honest with you, as much as they're supposed to be the second drivers, neither of them really shot up, so it is still just yourself against KJ. So ultimately, it still could be damage reputation because they say, well, I still beat you in the constructors anyway. Is it an aim for you to win the constructors alongside the drivers, or are you just so focused on trying to beat KJ single-handedly?
Well, when it comes down to it, I mean, I've been very on and off about focusing on the constructors because I had TRPD as my teammate for a good while, and then I didn't have a teammate for a while, and then Welty came on in, and well, it's been kind of iffy on that. I think it just comes down to if he shows up, because I think at this point AMG Kosha probably won't be coming to any more races, and I don't want to be mean, but he's a little off the pace for this league, I believe. So I don't think he'd be contributing too much, besides the fact that there just aren't that many people coming. So, I mean, if Welty doesn't show up, then it is just going to be between me and KJ, and if that's the case, then it's basically just like a second driver's championship, because whoever wins the championship is going to win the constructors as well, so it's just a little bonus, I guess. It'd be nice to win the constructors championship for sure, but I mean, at the end of the day, the driver's title is really what I'm focusing on.
That's fair enough. That is fair enough. It's very much a mindset that I think everyone be having at this point. My final question for you actually comes to you about Saturday. Now, of course, as I'm sure a lot of you know, WXL take part in a league versus league event called the LOR Lights Out Championship. They travel to their second round, which is actually, ironically, at Japan. Now, judging by the result here today, Dasher, that's got to fill you with confidence for this Saturday.
I mean, sort of. It's good practice. I thought we were going to Mexico until I woke up this morning, so I saw that and I was like, oh, okay, well, I guess I get practice for Saturday then. So, yeah, I mean, it's good practice, but I feel like if KJ was here, he probably would have beaten me, because if I remember correctly, he really likes these kind of technical tracks, and this is very much a technical track with Sector 1 and all that stuff. But yeah, good practice. The people in LOR are so fast, though. Like, you have I think you have 1 or 2 pro draft drivers, and then you got a couple or 2 or 3 tier 1 drivers in AOR, so it's a lot of competition, and I was pretty happy, well, relatively happy to finish what I did on Saturday, even though it could have been so much better. But yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to it for sure, and I hope it goes. I get up there with KJ to help solidify or even catch up to the top 2 in the team championship for that.
Yeah, most definitely. I wish you best of luck, of course. One of my 2 teams that I am supporting when I am on commentary, which you can, of course, join me on the Saturday for. But anyway, congratulations on your race victory today, my friend. Best of luck for next week, when, of course, we do travel to... Actually, Heskey, where do we travel to? Because I can't quite remember off the top of my head.
I have no clue.
Fantastic. Mexico. Lovely. Right, awesome. Thank you. So we travel back across the Pacific, we head towards Mexico. So best of luck for that week when you head down south from where you originally come from. Heskey, anything further you'd like to add? Because I know you wanted to be in the interviews for this. Is there anything you'd like to add?
First of all, I'd like to say thank you to you two, chat, both tracks, for filling in for such a long time. I mean, I haven't been here for quite a while. I've been very busy. And it's nice to be able to fully focus my duties now on both the end of this season, which I will be racing in, and next season, which I'll make my return. So, first of all, thank you for the brilliant job you've done this season, and here's to a great show for everybody watching for the last 2 races. And have a good evening, everyone.
There it is. Your owner has given us his thoughts, his precious thoughts that were bottled away in his head when he has been unfortunately busy. But thank you guys very much for joining us as per usual. Snakes, thank you very much for joining me. Combats for our friend. I'm not sure who will be joining me, whether it be yourself or Will next week. Remains to be a lottery.
All 3 of you.
Yeah.
One more thing.
Why not?
I will say-
might as well have. They do it in real life when there's a championship decider. There's 2 races left. Having 3 of you, extra few brains.
Sorry, you were going to say
Also,
something.
one more thing, just so I get it on stream, because no one said it yet. Rest in peace, Sergio Marchionne. I think it needs to be.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Thoughts to go out and all that to him. But yeah, in other news, let's talk about more brighter things, and let's talk about the conclusion of the stream. As per usual, Snakes, thank you very much for joining me. I have been your host, Efron Nuthead. He has been JSRSnakez, and those 3 podium guys have been TR Dasher on the top step, Aard second, and Killian in third. Thank you guys very much for joining us. See you next week, and it's been lucky 13 for some, but unlucky for most. Thank you guys very much for watching. See you next time. Goodbye.